It's me at home. I don't understand it. All right, see we're on YouTube.
Okay, we're live.
All right, if we can go ahead and pull up that PowerPoint presentation, we can go ahead and get started. And are we gonna, can we do the presenting screen, please?
I'm trying to figure out how to do that on these two screens.
Should be the upper left. The button that looks like a slideshow, a screen.
That's what I'm doing. Let's see.
More people are joining. We're going to get started in just a second. If you just make sure your phone is muted.
Okay. Is it on your screen now? No.
Is it projecting on the wrong screen that you're seeing?
Yeah, it is. Hold on.
I see a couple numbers in the Zoom here that are not muted. If you just, there it is. If you just do me a favor, mute your phone. And we will get started right now. I want to say good evening to everyone. My name is Nathan Lombardo. I'm the Planning and Zoning Administrator for the City of South Fulton. Tonight is our Community Zoning Information Meeting for Monday, November 9th. And I think I forgot to say hello to the entire internet who is listening tonight, as I like to do when we start these virtual presentations. So no matter where you are, thank you for tuning in. As usual, what we're doing tonight is simply presenting all the cases that will be coming at the upcoming Planning Commission and Board of Appeals meetings. No decisions are being made tonight. Tonight is simply informational. If there's any questions that come in, we will field those and answer them as best we can or get back to you in a timely manner. Any comments that come in, we will take note of those and forward those to our boards as well. Anyone watching on YouTube, you can put any comments or questions in the chat box, and someone is watching that, and we'll be able to ask those questions and answer them as best we can. And if you are at your computer and want to send an email, it's planning@cityofsouthfultonga.gov, and we'll be checking that email address periodically as the presentation goes by. Again, that's planning, PLANNING, @cityofsouthfultonga, one word, .gov. All right, and we can get rocking and rolling and go to the first slide, please. First case tonight, V20006, a variance at 5270 Campbellton Fairburn Road. Go to the next slide. This is a pretty straightforward request, and you'll see in the pictures that we post that we'll talk that it's pretty clear what they're asking for. It's for a Dunkin' Donuts that is already built and already operating. They want a slight variance on the colors of the South Fulton Parkway overlay. It's to have their corporate orange on the awning, which we have a picture of. And I want to make a point here to quote a brief section of our ordinance to just say relief if granted would be in harmony with the general purpose and intent of the zoning ordinance. So we don't feel that this request is overly burdensome. And again, because those are corporate colors, we want to make sure that the business is readily identifiable. We can go to the next slide, please. You can see on our aerial map here the location of the Dunkin', and as I said, it is already open, already built, already open. People are already ruining their diets. Not to poke fun at Dunkin', but I know how guilty I am at those treats. And you can see the zoning right there. It's a mixed-use parcel. Go to the next slide, please. So this is what the building currently looks like. The awnings are a beige. We couldn't get quite the right shade there. There's been a lot of discussion, a lot of back and forth on the painting of the awning. And so they just applied for a variance to their regular corporate orange. We can go to the next slide and see a rendering of what that would look like. Normal orange, what every Dunkin' looks like. I've got one down the street from me, so I'm very familiar with this color scheme. And I don't know if there's a slide after this one on this presentation, but I do know that the petitioners have a few slides that they sent in. They requested they'd be allowed to present those, and I don't have any objections to that. So if Marissa could pull up the PowerPoint that was sent in by the petitioners, and I will turn the floor over to any representatives from Dunkin' who want to make any comments. I know they're on the call, so the floor is open. There you go.
All right, can you hear me? This is Jeff Haymore. I represent the property owner and applicant. On the line, I believe, are the property owner's representative, Imran Ramji, as well as it looks like John Carpenter from Dunkin' Donuts. Nathan, as you said, I agree with you 100%. It's a slight variance, and it is to conform with the corporate colors, the iconic Dunkin' orange. You saw what Nathan shared there with you over the canopies. That would be over both the drive-through as well as the entrance to the store. The other color upon which this orange would be placed, and this is in our in the PowerPoint, and I don't think I have control of that, but if whomever does could sort of go to maybe one of the last slides, they might see, if you just keep going, show you the other part. Keep going down a little bit more. One more, I think, towards the end. They're right there. Want to also paint the signs as well as the call box in that orange. And as Nathan said, really the standard is whether it's in harmony or could be made to be in harmony. We believe that it is, and don't really need to say any more than that unless Imran or John have any comments. If not, we're just here to answer any questions that you might have.
Marissa, have any questions come in either in the YouTube chat box or on the planning email address?
No comments yet.
All right. Is there anything else from the petitioners that they want to express about this? I know you had a few other people on the line, so I just want to make sure that everyone has an opportunity if they want to take it.
No, this is John Carpenter. I'm a construction manager with Dunkin' Corporate. I'm on the Zoom call tonight to represent our franchisees, Jignesh Suthar and Vipul Patel, who are also on. I just wanted to state that we're finishing 2020 with a brand new image of next generation Dunkin's. We have almost 1,000 stores opened and remodeled across the country. And with very little exception, we have been allowed to do our brand heritage of the orange signage, which we obviously have, so thank you for that. But as well as the canopies and the directional sign that came up earlier. So I was just here as additional support if needed, and just wanted to say we've opened some 20 new Dunkin's in Atlanta this year, and with little exception, they've all had the orange canopies. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. All right, we do see one question. There's two that came in, or just one. And a question about, have you applied in other jurisdictions and been denied for any reason?
John, can I take that one?
Yes, go right ahead.
I don't think that we have been denied as for the wherever we as we franchises applied, it has been accepted very well within our franchise domain, and it has not been rejected.
And to add to that, as the developer, we have built other Dunkin's with different franchisees. our franchisors, and they've all been approved as the standard Dunkin' image with that orange.
Yeah, I think everybody's pretty familiar with these colors and with this font, and certainly with your products. So, well, if nothing else has come in over the internet, I don't have any more from the city's perspective. We're obviously very familiar with this, and we're looking forward to getting it to a positive resolution for everyone involved. Okay, so we can move on to the next case. Thank you all from Duncan very much, and we will see you at the Board of Appeals meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
And just for the people listening, the Board of Appeals meeting will also be held virtually. It will be on November 19th, and the posting and advertising will be on the city's website again. We'll have that PowerPoint pulled up in just a second for anyone who's watching. I know you're seeing a blank Zoom screen. We'll be right back up.
Yeah, give me just a second.
If the one person whose phone I can hear ringing would please mute their phone, I would appreciate it. All right. Move on here. I know we have a next case is Z20005, a rezoning request at 0 Buffington Road. Go to the next slide, please. This is a parcel that has currently got 2 zonings on it. It's zoned AG1 and OI, which is office institutional. They're asking for an M2 heavy industrial. The intent here is to develop an office and a storage yard for construction equipment. And I will say to anyone listening right now, we have gotten a lot of comment and a lot of questions about this one, and we've made note of that. And it will certainly be brought up at the Planning Commission meeting as well. We can go to the next slide, please. So the parcel is almost directly above the warehouse in the middle of the screen. Because the parcel does not have a street address, it wouldn't come up in Google Maps, so I just had to make a snapshot of the aerial. It's on the other side of the highway, directly across Buffington Road from this this warehouse you see here, in a long, skinny piece of property. If we go to the next slide, we'll see it on the zoning map. So the warehouse on the previous screen was be right in the middle of those 2 gray M1s across the street, and the highlighted blue property directly above it is the piece we're talking about. It has a split zoning on it, surrounded on one side of the street by industrial, and with some C2 and sub A next to it. But as we saw on the previous slide, none of those are developed. There is a subdivision down the street and a parcel zoned for residential next to the warehouse that's across the street. Go to the next slide. This is a site plan. Basically, it's just going to be a yard with 2 small office buildings. Is anyone from this project on the call with us right now?
Yeah, yes, sir. This is Brent Benson. I'm the applicant and on the call. So, and
All right,
Kane's
sure.
on
Go
the
ahead and
call.
walk us through what you want to do here.
So basically, I've been looking for a piece of property to put my office and a shop to work on some equipment periodically. It wouldn't be that often, and may have one or two pieces parked on the storage yard from time to time.
Are you the current owner of this property?
No, sir.
Okay. Have any comments or questions come in from YouTube or the planning email address that we can see?
I'm driving, so I can't see it.
No, it's okay. That you wouldn't be able to see them, but we would see them on our end.
Right.
So there isn't anything.
You also have Kane Chambers on here. I'm the broker for the petitioner, Brent Benson.
Okay.
So there isn't anything on the planning email yet. There is a message from Chinedu Uzochi who says, "Where do these businesses plan to build?" And then DJ Inc. OG also wants to know, will this property be a warehouse?
No, not aware. I mean, it'll have a small, I guess, depending on, it will be constructed as a shop with two large roll-up doors and then an office, to the side. But I guess a part of it could look like a warehouse, but it will not be a warehouse.
Are you proposing to have the whole lot paved?
Some of it'll be gravel or asphalt millings, and then the area that maybe 20 foot around the shop will be concrete before you pull into the shop, and then there will be an area paved in front of the office part. But there will be a main road, a main paved part for people to enter and exit off of.
I'm assuming there'll be some kind of fencing around this lot.
Yes, sir.
And we would certainly have some kind of landscaping in front along the road, along the fencing as well, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, sir. And we did a tree survey, and there was only 3 specimen trees, so the recompense on this particular piece of property is low, which is also smaller. But yes, it would look nice. This will be my office.
I gotcha.
So there's another comment. Chinedu Uzochi wants to know, what type of business is this if it's not a warehouse?
It's a grading and construction business. So pipeline company and construction.
And that concludes our comments, I believe.
Okay. If there's anything else the petitioners want to say, now is your chance. Otherwise, we can move on to the next case. All right, gentlemen, thank you so much, and we will talk soon.
Okay, thanks.
And I said this once, said this about the Board of Appeals, but the Planning Commission is next Tuesday, the 17th. It will also be held virtually. And again, it will be advertised, and the links will be on the city's website to watch on YouTube. We can go to the next slide.
So there's one more comment. Do you know the name of
Sure.
Brett Benson's company?
Centerpoint Site Work and Utilities.
Okay. And then to answer the last question we have on this, it will be in the city of South Fulton. And there are some more general comments, but I want to let you guys know there will be more opportunities for comments at the Planning Commission meeting and the City Council meeting. Nathan, when is the Planning Commission meeting where we'll have more opportunities for comments again?
Planning Commission is Tuesday the 17th.
Yes. Okay, we can move on to the next one.
Okay, thank you, gentlemen, so much.
No problem. Thank you.
All right, the next one we have is Z20007, 0 Butner Road. Go to the next slide, please. The petitioner here seeks to rezone from R3A to CUP for a residential subdivision. The parcel here is in the Cliftondale overlay. You'll see the site on the site plan. The houses here comply with all staggered material requirements. We do have a few elevations in this presentation, and I know that the petitioners have submitted another PowerPoint as well. And if we don't cover everything talking through these pictures, we'll be happy to pull that one up for you also. Go to the next slide, please. The parcel here is located in the dead center of your screen. If you look to the map on the right, you'll see the piece highlighted in light blue, but it's a large undeveloped tract. The next slide, please. Here's a site plan, and I believe I saw the 62 homes right in here. We have decel lanes already on the site plan, some landscaping. Houses are staggered. And if we can go to the next slide, we can see some sample elevations with higher end materials here. I know the petitioners are on the call. Michelle, do you want to pull up the other PowerPoint that was sent over, or do you want to just go with what is here?
I think we can go with what you have. Thank you.
Okay, and I'll turn it over to the petitioners to make any comment.
If we can go back to the site plan, the subject property, as indicated, is located off of Butner Road. We are in the Cliftondale overlay. We have abided by the 50-foot buffer required along the frontage of Butner Road, as well as along the western boundary line, and I guess that would be the northern boundary line, as you're seeing on the plan. We are going to be asking for this matter to be deferred until the December Planning Commission hearing schedule,
okay,
as we will be seeking to amend our application to add some concurrent variances for the stream buffer. The lots in the interior, which are abutted to the north, primarily, there's a need for a reduction of the stream buffer, more specifically the impervious component of the stream buffer, as well as a little bit of the first layer or the last layer of the stream buffer, mainly to allow for the retaining wall to be installed. We do have a stagger with all of the lots. The stagger is a little bit less on the lots that are abutted to the rear of the stream buffer. We are providing for an open park play area, as well as an area near the mail kiosk and gazebo, a gazebo area over on that side as well, where the mail kiosk is located. The front entrance will have a monument sign, will be heavily landscaped. We also are providing for only an emergency exit or access through the Legacy community to the rear, Legacy Oaks to the rear. There is no direct, however, vehicular access. It is only for emergency purposes only. And that's it.
Michelle, let me ask you a couple of questions specifically about that. I know we addressed this in one of our calls as well. Is the street in the old subdivision, is that stubbed out there, or is it just an easement from the other development?
I believe it is stubbed out. However, there's no desire by that community to have connection between these two communities. So we've tried to honor that by simply allowing for the emergency access. It will not actually be paved. I think that is not required. It just has to be designated for access for fire and safety purposes.
Okay, that's what I said. I have not been to see that on the ground, but that was my main question there. So so we'll just have basically an easement between those two houses that will remain clear, that will give access between the two developments.
Correct.
Okay. Have any questions come in on the YouTube chat or in the planning email box?
Sorry, I was muted. So we have lots of questions. What will the home value be for this particular development?
I believe that the homes will be in the high 200s, low 300s. It may be actually a little higher than that. I apologize. I got to too many applications here tonight. I think we do have Rick from Pulte on the line with us this evening. So if I've misspoken, Rick, feel free to chime in. But the intent here is for those homes to be in the 300s and up. Rick, are you there?
I'm here, Michelle. Thank you. They'll start in the high 270s and go up into the mid 350s.
Thank you for the clarity.
Okay. What is the crossroad right here at Butner Road? Let's see if we can go
That's
back to
Stonewall
these
Tell.
slides.
Stonewall Tell.
Okay. Harold Reed has commented that this exceeds the land use plan density for this parcel.
We are seeking a CUP on this property. We are immediately adjacent to the live work. And in fact, you can kind of tell on the screen that part of our property is a portion of it is live work land use designation. It is my understanding that under seeking the CUP, we can seek to exceed the current land use density. The property is currently zoned RA3. So we're on the higher side of that density calculation, but we are aware of that, and we are certainly requesting that the City Council consider the type of development that we are seeking to do. This project needs this additional density in order to develop the property in the manner that has been discussed, particularly with the Legend Oaks community, and therefore we are continuing to pursue the 62 units as proposed.
Okay, there's another question on the crossroads and intersection. And if you guys can see the screen, the development is here. And this is Butner Road. And this is Stonewall Tell Road here. The next question was asking what is the name of the builder or developer for this property?
It's Pulte.
Okay, and then after that, there's another comment. The site plan does not provide for northbound turn lanes into the development from Harold Reed. Another question is, are they three-sided brick throughout? And we can go back to the elevations that are on here.
I'm gonna defer to Rick on that. I don't believe so, but he may have a different answer there. Rick? Let's put it this way. I don't have an answer for that right now, but if we can come back. Oh, he's on now. Go for it.
Yeah, I'm here. I didn't realize I was still muted. I'm like Michelle. I'm reasonably sure that we didn't. We don't have 3 brick sides on all the homes, but it'll be cementitious board where there's no vinyl or any of the other kind of materials that are typically objected to.
And I believe also that if a homeowner wants to purchase and do an upgrade for 3-sided brick, I'm sure that Pulte would be more than happy to accommodate them.
We do indeed, as well as a number of other options that are available for all the homes being offered on this particular site.
Okay. The next question is, what consideration is being considered for traffic mitigation since this is a 4-way stop sign?
We're not at a 4-way stop sign at this particular piece of property. That's really at the intersection of Stonewall and Butner, and we're further up from there. From a traffic perspective, we're really not, while I'm sure that there's some feeling that 64 homes is a lot of homes, in terms of the amount of traffic that's coming in and out, it is rather small in comparison to the rest of the traffic along Butner Road and in that intersection.
Okay, so the next comment is from GS02DNJ, and they said, but under CUP, the home should be similar to what surrounds it. So how is this consistent?
We believe that these homes, and there's been much discussion, particularly with the Legend Oaks. This is really phase 2 of that community. We believe that the homes that we are looking to sell on this site are very comparable to a lot of the homes that are coming into the area in that price point range, in that 300, high 200s, low $300,000 range for starting price points. We believe that these homes will be extremely well received in terms of their marketability. At a price per square foot, these homes are actually more expensive than the homes that are in the surrounding area. So we believe that we are putting out a product that is comparable and allows for a diversity of product within this particular geographic area.
Okay, we have additional comments. Harold Reed says the land use designation for this property is suburban residential, 1 to 2 units per acre, and this development is out of character from all existing established homes surrounding it. I'd like to say again, this one is mostly an informational meeting, and you all have additional opportunities to provide comments in the planning email address in advance of the planning commission meeting. Also, the next question is Plute an affiliate of Centrex Homes, and exactly where is it potentially being built on Butner Road?
I'm not sure about Centrex for Pulte Group, but the property is as shown on the tax map or overview that you all showed, and so I'm not sure about the second component of the question, but it is on Butner Road. It is, I guess.
Michelle, may I?
Sure.
The question is with regard to Pulte, not Plute, but Pulte, and I understand. I believe the questioner was asking if Syntex is related to Pulte, and the answer to that question is yes. Pulte brand owns the Pulte brand, or Pulte Group owns Pulte brand, Del Webb brand, John Whelan brand, Syntex in the southeast, and then we've got 3 other brands out west in addition to the ones I just named. But this will be a Pulte brand house, not a Syntex house.
Thank you, Rick.
Sure.
Okay, we have a few more comments. Harold Reed says, this development is out of character from all existing established homes surrounding it. The lots are much smaller than the lots in Legend Oaks and the other homes on Butner Road. GS02DNJ says the lots are the size of Legend Oaks, so how are they comparable? The houses next to the property directly next to it sit on acres. The housing cost is higher than when the houses in Legend Oaks Phase 1 were originally built. Why are we seeking to rezone to accommodate these homes as opposed to selecting land that is already zoned to accommodate this development? It is past the vineyards heading towards Stonewall Tell coming from Camp Creek.
I think that one thing that we want to note with regards to this, this land is land that Pulte has owned for a few years that they picked up through some acquisitions, and they are certainly very committed to building a quality community on this project, on this property, that the Legend Oaks community and those around have an opportunity to have a say with regards to the house style and type and the amenities and other things that would be going into this project. If Pulte is unable to move forward with regards to this particular project, then with all candor, this project will probably be sold to another builder, and they will, if they build within the context of what's there now, there won't be this opportunity for dialogue and discussion about what this project looks like and how it will proceed. It will just be whatever it ends up being. There are no specific requirements in any subdivision in any place in the city or the Metro Atlanta area where you can certainly put requirements down on what the look and style of the homes will be, but ultimately those prices and homes have to be able to sell, and we want to do a product that ultimately we believe will be comparable to the style and types of homes that are really desirable within the community. That all homes in this community cannot be at $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 plus. That there needs to be a diversity of product and a diversity of opportunity for people of various socioeconomic statuses. And we believe that this is a quality product. We've handpicked these homes with the members of the surrounding community to make sure that they were homes that everyone felt comfortable with in terms of the design and the style. And so, we are hopeful that we can continue to have dialogue and community with the community. We have a community meeting currently scheduled for the 12th. We've had a preliminary meeting with the Legend Oaks advisory group, and we will continue to work with the community. That's the reason that we are seeking to defer this to December. And we will be meeting with Harold. I've already sent an email. I hope you got that, Harold, requesting a meeting with the Cliftondale group so that we have an opportunity to go over everything.
Thank you. And the last comment from Harold Reed is another builder would have to follow the R3 zoning without a zoning change. And then after that, I think we're ready to go to the next slide if you guys are.
I'm done. Thank you.
Nathan, are you there?
I'm sorry, I was muted. I said a whole paragraph all to myself. The next case here is Z20008 and Z20009. These will be presented together because they are rezonings for the same project, and they'll become very clear in just a picture or two. The addresses here are 7195 Butner, 0 West Stubbs, and 3315 West Stubbs. Can you go to the next slide, please? So case 8 is proposed rezoning from AG1 to CUP for the purpose of developing a residential subdivision. 009 is a rezoning from AG1 to SH for the purpose of a mixed-use senior living development. There's also concurrent variance here for an age change in the city's definition of senior living from 62 to 55. Both of these cases cover multiple parcels of property, which will be very clear on the next slide. So the map here, the pin drop in the center of your screen covers all these pieces of property. And if you look at the zoning map on the right, you'll see a highlighted blue shape. It looks like an L. And there's 2 square-shaped properties next to it, and it covers all 3 of these pieces of property. So it's a very large proposal here. And I will let everyone know that on the slide that's next, the map is rotated so that I can fit a bigger picture on here, so don't be thrown if the orientation is off just a little, but it's just going to be rotated 90 degrees. We can go to the next slide, please. You'll see Butner Road is the orange-yellow line to the right. In the front of the development there is a mixed-use senior component. That would be zoned SH. I'm sorry, not SH. Yeah, it's SH. I'm sorry. I'm getting SH and TH confused in my brain. And then we have the subdivision section, all the single-family lots, and the street coming in on the lower part of the development. This would be zoned separately. I'm done talking about this, and I'll turn over to the petitioner. I will ask, Michelle, would there be the intent to subdivide this, to have the senior portion I'm sorry, these are some sample elevations here. My question, was there be intent to subdivide this and have the senior portion as its own development, or would it all still be kept together and zoned separately? I know certainly that all of the individual single-family homes would have their own property, and I suppose for the senior component, there would be condos or duplexes, triplexes, quads, that kind of arrangement. So I know those would all be divided separately, but what is it? Is it the intent to sort of keep it together, or to have that parceled out differently?
So in order to achieve the zoning, we will be seeking simultaneously a boundary line adjustment so that the CUP properties for the single-family detached homes will be considered one development, and the SH will be subdivided into a tract that will allow it to be developed as SH. As you know, under the land use, you get a density bonus for SH for senior housing, and then the CUP, we are proposing at a density of 2.9 units per acre. The senior component is at a density of 5 units per acre.
I see in the upper part of this slide here, the street comes through. Is there intentional connectivity between the subdivision and the senior component?
Absolutely, and the reason why we bifurcated this was in order to allow for the senior component, for it to be clear that that is intended to be restricted use for seniors. There was always to be connectivity between these two, so that this is really a opportunity to have intergenerational living on the property.
Gotcha. But that would not be any type of assisted living or anything like that. It's just mixed, as you said, mixed aged, but there would be an HOA and it would be managed for seniors.
Correct. So each part will have its own HOA designation, and there may be some overlap in terms of them working cooperatively. What we know is that one of the reasons we asked for the variance for the age was to allow it to be 55 and older, as this will be a market rate community. It is not intended to be, quote, an affordable, subsidized housing community for the seniors. One of the things that we have found is that a lot of senior communities are being developed in this manner in other parts of the metro Atlanta area, but we really have not seen this type of market rate product within some of the areas on the south side of town. And so units for the seniors, again, this will be a 55 and older community, restricted, that individuals who reside in this community have to be 55 years or older. And those restrictive covenants will be placed on the property as also a part of the zoning. There will be a diversity of product opportunity for the seniors, and then they will have the opportunity, you know, who knows, maybe if their children may live in the homes adjacent, and there will be connectivity there, opportunities for them to, you know, live in the same general vicinity together. The senior component does have an adult daycare that is also being proposed for those seniors who may be a little more up in years and need a little bit extra assistance, but that will be open to the entire community, which I think is also a great benefit, along with some community space that will be open and available not only to the seniors, but also to the adjacent CUP community.
Yes. Now, I know we had talked, and this one is going to be postponed as well, correct?
That is correct.
Were we going to move this one to December or to January?
Right now, we are looking at December. Notices are going out now for a community meeting to be held on November 18th to try and address any issues that are and concerns raised by the community. We will also, and I've already put in an email to Harold, along with the remainder of the Cliftondale Community Club, to have a meeting to discuss this project as well. We had a preliminary meeting. We've had some changes since that preliminary meeting. We've tried to abide by the Cliftondale requirements. Again, density is an issue in this area. Certainly when most of these communities were developed, they were developed under zonings that occurred back in the early 2000s. Well, back then it made sense to develop on larger lots. But quite honestly, that configuration is much tougher now as lots are getting smaller, but houses are staying basically the same. So from a density perspective, we need the extra density in order to adjust to the land costs, particularly on this site. There's a lot of topo, a lot of challenges because this is really a development of what had been portions of an old quarry. So there's some really beautiful aspects to the land in the middle, right behind that building in brown on the senior part. There's a little lake and some outcroppings that make for a really beautiful area. We're really trying to move with the topo on this project and believe that in the end, it will be a very picturesque community and hopefully one that, sets a standard for things to come, particularly surrounding the ability to provide quality market rate housing with housing opportunities for seniors to even go from the project in the CUP in the back into the senior community where we have duplexes, quads, and a condo feature on the site. So we're really excited about this product. I can tell you also that the product price it will be for the homes will be basically $300,000 and up for the single family detached homes. The quads for the seniors will probably be around 150. The duplexes will probably move up into the 200s. And some of, if not all of the product in the condo building will be either condos or some apartments as well, with those being at 1,000 a unit and up. So again, this is intended to be a market rate product. This is not subsidized, affordable housing for seniors. I just want to make that clear.
This definitely is a dynamic proposal, I'll say that. Marissa, have any comments come in the YouTube chat or over the planning email address?
Yes, there are some comments. So to clarify,
okay.
Ms. Battle already noted that they weren't receiving federal credits or subsidies. But someone asked, is this senior apartments? So I guess they just want clarification on if they're apartments or if they're planning to be like condos or homes.
So,
and somebody also wanted to know what is the market rate for them for the senior living portion.
So again, for the senior, there's a larger brown building. I can't really point to it, but it's at the back end before you get to the open space and the little lakey area there to the back. That building will be, I believe, stories, between 3 and 4 stories. It will be what we call condo flats. Some, if not all of them, may be apartments, but they would be market rate apartments, 2-bedroom, 1 2-bedroom apartment units. But it is quite possible that they may also be for sale condominium units as well. That hasn't been a final determination on that. But whatever it is, it will not be a subsidized apartment building like you are seeing in other areas from developers doing tax credit deals. It is a market rate product. In front of that, you've got some duplexes. Those, as I indicated, will be around $200,000 price point market rate for the duplexes. And I'll have some more information at the community meeting about the sizes of those units. And then with regards to the quads, we anticipate those being roughly about $150,000 for a quad unit. So we're trying to make them reasonably priced for seniors, but they are a for sale product. And, our hope, quite honestly, is that some of the seniors who live in this community may be so inclined to move out of their larger homes that they may not need anymore. They may not need that space as they are empty nesters, to move into this community where they will have more opportunities, amenities, will have access to the pool and to the community living space, and if they need additional assistance for anyone in the home, for maybe a husband or a wife might need adult daycare during the day, that they would have that right there in the area. So we think that this is really a great opportunity for seniors, and then to be surrounded by the residential community, which helps, quite honestly, push the senior component so that the prices can be reasonable for the seniors who would be living there.
So next question is next comment from Harold Reed is that density for the single home development exceeds the density for all surrounding developments and the land use plan for the area. They also wanted to know, where are the community meetings being held?
So I know that Harold's focus is on density. That's clear. And I think that the city has some challenges, in my opinion. We have property immediately adjacent to this site that's zoned R3. We know that I've checked the density on many of the communities surrounding. They're at 2 units, probably the highest at 2 units per acre. However, again, these are communities that were built, quite honestly, during wonderful urban sprawl, where we've got large lots, which take up more land, less lots, more density and smaller lots, allows us to be more compact, to save some of the green space areas on this site. It's a challenging site to develop. We don't want it to be priced so high that it is not a marketable product. There's no question that the development costs and expenses are much higher on this project than you would see on an average project. We believe that's why, quite honestly, the project started and stopped, and so under previous developer. So we believe that this is an appropriate development in an appropriate area with an appropriate level of density, based on the trends and the needs as we move forward. And we cannot continue to live 20 years ago when development was happening originally in this part of the county, and so in the city, I'm sorry. So we believe that this is an appropriate density and use under CUP, and that will be for City Council certainly to make that decision. With regards to, I think the latter question you asked, I'm sorry, Marissa, I don't mean to get sidetracked on the CUP, but I know that continues to be an issue about density, and density is important, but density is also needed in order to, make projects make fiscal sense. Sorry, go ahead.
Okay. Did we answer the questions about where the community meetings are being held?
The community meetings will be on Zoom. I am very protective of folks' health and my own health for that matter. So we have sent out notifications that are going out today and tomorrow for the meeting that'll be held on November the 18th. It will be a Zoom call. If you have not received the information, please feel free to email me at mlb@battlelawpc.com, mlb@battlelawpc.com, and we'll make sure that you get the information. We've also sent information to Councilmember Gumps, and we will also make sure that the planning staff has it. So if anybody needs that information, they can feel free to reach out to any of us, and you should be able to get the Zoom information.
Okay, so the next question is, they're kind of related. Deborah Harris says, what traffic mitigations are being considered for this facility since Butner and West Stubbs is a 4-way stop? And then Harold Reed is also asking, has there been an assessment of the infrastructure availability and capacity to handle this level of density?
Okay. So we know we did do a traffic study, which we have submitted to the staff and is available. I assume either on the website or through an open records request. If you contact me directly, we'd be happy to provide that as well. It is anticipated there was already in place a plan for a roundabout at the intersection of West Stubbs and Butner. This project will take in excess, we wouldn't be looking at doing any development until sometime probably 2021, early 2022 before we would even be putting in infrastructure. So we believe that the plans for the roundabout will be completed, and that was taken into account in the traffic study, and we have complied with the requirements set forth under the traffic study. With regards to infrastructure, we are, again, just starting this process. So we had our pre-app meeting. There was no indication that we would not have access to water and sewer in this area. So other than that, I'm not sure what other questions we can respond to on that point.
The next question is from GS02D and J. And they said, is the builder / developer willing to deed restrict so that they do not provide well, it says, is the builder developer willing to deed restrict it to not provide subsidize? So I think what they're trying to say is the builder willing to put a deed restriction on the property to prohibit subsidizing it?
Marissa, I can jump in on that. I don't think that the city, I don't think anybody on this call should answer that question, because you would possibly violate people's fair housing rights. And so I would just advise that we don't answer that question, and that they can, seek legal counsel for that type of question.
Okay. The next question is from Chinedu Uzochi. And they said, this is too much development for Butner and West Stubbs, no apartments. Most seniors like to live conveniently located to doctor's offices, grocery stores, parks, and community centers. Coretta B says, how many total living units, including single family homes?
So with regards to the senior component of the project, we are looking at a total of, apologize here, roll down my list, 104 residential units on the senior side. And with regards to the single family, it's 173 single family detached homes. The comment with regards to, seniors like to live in a certain area. I will say this, I guess technically I qualify as a senior now, and I like to live wherever I feel like it. I think that a lot of seniors at 55 and older, that's particularly the price point that we're looking in. I think that, they are looking to live within their communities that they already reside in. Certainly for those seniors who need more assistance and may need an assisted living facility, I think living in areas that are closer to some of those other amenities and being in areas where they have quick access to the hospitals and things of that nature becomes important. We're not suggesting that there won't be seniors living in here that are, 70 or 80 years old, but I think the mass majority of these this is an active senior community, and that's why we're asking for the reduction from 62 and older to 55 and older, because we're hopeful that, we've got a lot of active folks that are out there that just honestly don't want to live in communities where there are, a bunch of kids right around. They want to live in spaces where, kind of they have their own thing going on. They have their own neighbors, they're still going to work. They're still, getting up and some of them are getting ready to retire, but a lot of them are still working and, still out doing everyday things like everybody else does. And so, they just want a nice place to live that they kind of call their own. It's their own space. And we believe that this is a great location for it within the interior of the community and not on the outskirts someplace.
We get asked a lot of questions about senior housing. We know there's a real need for it. And it's really interesting to have an idea like this where you have that mix of single family, you have that active lifestyle, you have the opportunity to have mixed ages living in the same place, It's just, I know I'm offering color commentary here, but it's just a really interesting, interesting thing to talk about, and interesting opportunity for the city and to see visually here represented. I think it's really cool, to be honest with you.
Yeah. I mean, it's intergenerational living, and that's what we wanted, and that active living space. And so we think this is a great location, and you get the additional density bump by doing the SH. So we feel like we're in the right spot.
Did we answer the question yet about how many total housing units?
I said 173 on the CUP and 104 on the senior.
Okay, awesome. The next question is, someone said we need to raise our property values, and the next question is, does the request for AG1 rezoning affect any of the parcels in the local area, like parcels that have large animals?
Well, we're asking for CUP, and most of the land around us is actually developed. We feel like we're just kind of the next lot. We've got some lots on the other side of us that are zoned RA3. I don't know of any wildlife or anything on this particular site. We do have the stream and some wetlands, I guess, on here in certain locations, but we've worked around those spaces and believe that we won't have any more impact than any of the other projects that come into the area.
So Harold Reed says, stop undervaluing our community. And then there's another question that says, how old is the comprehensive land use plan that keeps being referred to?
Well, our current comprehensive plan was put in place, I believe, 5 years ago.
No, it was
when it was
adopted.
still full and
It was adopted in 2018, and it is a holdover from Fulton County's 2035 plan. So the
there we go.
city adopted it in 2018.
Okay.
Yeah, and to that point, we do not have a city-specific comprehensive plan. Our current comprehensive plan was adopted when it was still Fulton County, and has just been carried over.
So the next question is, so someone asked, someone said that CUP is the reason many of us moved here, Deborah Harris. And then there was a question that is, what is CUP? So CUP means community unit plan, and it's a type of plan development that's based on a master plan for a certain subdivision. So basically what happens is the developer comes and says, this is my idea for the community. And then there are conditions and such approved in the rezoning case for that specific master plan development. So the next question is from Doris Pinkett Hobbs. And she says, what type and when were surveys conducted to determine that a community of this type was desired in this community? Did they survey seniors in our area or those desiring to move in?
I don't have an answer for you at this moment, but we will have that answer if you want to be on the call on November 18th. We can talk about the marketing of the site and the market feasibility studies to the extent that they were done.
Okay. The next one from Chinedu Uzochi says, there is too much groundbreaking that will destroy the areas designated for agriculture. Coretta B says, when was the traffic study?
We conducted the traffic study, I guess it was a couple of months ago. All of the traffic engineers are using data that is in coordination with GDOT and other information that was pre-COVID. They also have a methodology for increasing the trips over what is current COVID trips. So that has been taken into consideration. If you review the traffic study, you will see that we have made accommodations for what would be considered pre and post COVID traffic.
Okay, so the next question is, we want to keep the area as the suburbs and not too much infrastructure change that will possibly devalue our existing homes. The next comment is, so is the city agreeing we should have apartments embedded in the community that has a comp plan that does not allow for it?
Well, there are no apartments on this. This is condos and for sale units, correct? Did I misspeak?
Yes, right. No, that's correct. But I said that there's some of those condos may be leasable, but we haven't made a final determination. That's something we'll need to talk with the city about, whether or not, we would have that component. But we also know that there are many zonings that are happening with CH. This gets into whether or not seniors should be relegated to the outskirts of communities, or whether they should have an opportunity to live within, the center of the communities where many of them already reside. And, having a diversity of product type, particularly for the seniors, I think is important. It is certainly being done in other communities, and, with great success. And, the opportunity to have this type of a market rate product, I think, is really a great opportunity and kind of unique. I don't have a lot of developers who seek to have this combination, particularly not in these communities. And so there are many communities that would, that would fight for this product because it's just not happening in a lot of places. Again, no one is trying to devalue this area. There should be an opportunity for everybody to live. You shouldn't have to be a millionaire to live in this area, and you shouldn't have to be, at the bottom end of the margins to live in this area. Everyone should have an opportunity to be here with a diversity of product and of price points. These homes, again, will be, the single family detached will be $300,000 and over. A lot of people, some people cannot afford that. That price is out. Some school teachers and firemen, and some can afford that. But, it is a price point that is a starting price point. It's not an ending price point, which means prices are only going up from there. So, this would be a high quality community with a very high standard with regards to the development. And we want to have the community be a part of the design and development of this community. And we think it's a great opportunity, and we look forward to working with the community to see if we can work through some of these issues that have been raised.
Okay, and the next question says, why does the attorney keep referring to it as a 20-year-old density plan? And I'm assuming they're saying that in response to the comment that it was adopted in 2018.
So when you look at the land use plan for this area, it has really not changed over the last 20 years. If you go back and you look at the comp plans that were previously adopted by Fulton County, this area was, at that time, it was rural area. I don't know that we would consider this rural area now. I mean, I guess, to the extent that you think that there's folks who want to still do farming out here, I guess it is. But there doesn't seem to be a mad rush to put any new farms out in this area. People are trying to move into this area, live in this area. Density is of issue because at the end of the day, what it costs to build a community almost 20 years ago is not what it costs to build a community now. And so that's why you'll see higher price points, because they have to be able to pay for the land and the infrastructure that's being placed there. And so that's what is determining the price points on the homes. It's the cost of the land and the cost of the improvements, the cost of concrete, the cost of lumber is up right now. I think it's up like 5 times the amount that it normally has been. So, there are a lot of factors that go into making a product and developing a community that is considered to be reasonable from the market perspective. And so we feel that the density here is not so far off the pale. We're not talking about going from 2 units an acre to, 5 or 6 units an acre on with regards to the single family detached product. We're talking about going from 2 units an acre to 2.9 units an acre. So only 1 more unit per acre. We think that that's reasonable. And we are hopeful that the city council and the community will, feel similarly as we, continue to discuss the project and how it all kind of fits together and why it needs to be what it is in order to make it successful.
Okay, so we're moving into our kind of last round of comments here. It says, did anybody ask the existing homeowners what they desired? What happened to the $450,000 and up homes that were supposed to be built? We
Yeah, the
already
committee
said
voted
that
on the
we're
18th.
not going to have apartments here, but someone says we welcome no apartments.
Okay.
Deborah Harris says they can have it. We like the agricultural ambiance of the area. So there are more comments. They say you can have a 55 and up assistant living homes that will not devalue our neighborhood. I am in that age range. There is a difference in the home structure. And
We're not trying to do assisted. We're not. I just want to make this clear. We're not doing assisted living. This is independent adult living community. We're not trying to do any type of assisted living. That is not the product.
Okay.
Totally different product.
So someone else says you do not live in our community, so don't try to come in and tell us what's good for our community. A mix is a good idea, but every product does not go everywhere. Okay. Tasha Key McDade says, I have a mini farm. We raise chickens. And someone else says, it sounds as if you all are making decisions for us, but don't live in the area. In response to the mini farm with the chickens, Tasha Key McDade says, that's why I moved out here. Harold Reed says, great point. Someone else suggests that this is a consistent attempt to devalue the community for profit. Someone else says they are trying to build an apartment complex. How is that not a drastic increase in density? So I don't think they're building an apartment complex. I think the senior living component is for condos rather than apartments. So I think what happens with the condos is like, you buy the condo, so it's like you own it rather than an apartment that's leased, and then the members of the condo community own the condos together. I think the real estate way it works might be like tenants in common, so you own the condo and then together they kind of own the complex area around it, and they have an HOA that probably might help them do some of the maintenance. So it's not necessarily apartments, it's more like senior living condos where you own it and you live there. And I think that's what the developer is suggesting here in response to that comment. An average home now starts at 200,000 is what someone else said. And please repeat the email address. I live in the community and have received nothing.
As I indicated, the notices will be going out today. I think my assistant was sending them out today or tomorrow, so they have not actually hit the post office yet, so you should be getting it sometime this week. My email is mlb@battlelawpc.com. And I want to make it clear, I am not coming into a community trying to tell you all what you need. I'm simply giving you all some information about the project that we are trying to proceed with. We are more than happy to discuss the needs of this community on the call on the 18th, and to give us an opportunity to kind of present the plan and some more information, and we'll be happy to respond to any questions that you all have at that time. And I know this is a very important project. I know that this community is very vigilant. I've done other projects in this community, and we're just here to help facilitate dialogue and discussion, and to see whether or not we can, maybe reach some point of agreement and compromise. So we look forward to doing that.
Okay, so it says still the same amount of units, which means cars. Pre-COVID, we spent a lot of time sitting in traffic. Can Michelle confirm these are condos and the residents are owners? We should hear that from the city. And then someone else said, we need facts about what you are proposing to build the present community. Our voices need to be heard. And so
Absolutely.
The comment that we're looking...
Go ahead.
So I think the next comment that needs to be addressed is, can you confirm that these are condos and the residents will be owners?
I have had discussion with the developer. It is my understanding that it is a condo building that is intended for there to be owner occupied. There was some question as to whether or not, and I said this, so I don't want to act like I didn't say something, that maybe some of the units could be rental. But if this community and the board does not want any of those units to be rental, then that's fine. That's something for us to discuss. But, you know, at this moment, all we are indicating is that it is a condo building. It is not intended to be the typical apartment senior stuff that you have been seeing. It is not that kind of apartment or building, should I say. It is intended to be condominiums. They're with individually owned units. Condos, individually owned units in that building. And we will have more information, visuals at the meeting on November the 18th. And we postponed, again, because we want to give time. We don't want to just have one meeting and be done. We can have multiple meetings. We can split off into groups. We can do whatever is necessary to go through this to make sure that everybody understands and that everyone's voice is heard. We're not trying to silence anybody. We want to make sure that we understand what this community is feeling and is there a point of compromise? And, you know, if there is, great. And if there isn't, you know, the developer and the city and whoever else will make those decisions about, you know, what they feel is best. But we do want to have the opportunity to present this project, and we have a right to do so. We have a right to at least present it. Doesn't mean everybody has to agree to it, but we do have a right to present it.
Okay. So there was another question about the email address. I don't know how to put it in the comments, but can you guys see this Word document with the email address? No? Hold
Yes,
on.
we can see that.
Okay. So
I'm putting it in the chat.
Okay. Michelle's going to put it in the chat.
There you go.
Okay, and then the last question about rental controls. I think sometimes, I'm not all the way sure, but I think sometimes what people do when they don't want a lot of rentals is sometimes the HOA will put in the covenants and in the restrictions, like a rental restriction saying that you can't rent it, or another way to get around that, you can say that only a certain portion of it can be rented. So isn't that something that the HOA can put in the covenants and restrictions, perhaps?
Yeah, yes. And let me make this point clear, because I think there seems to be some confusion. The difference between an apartment building and a condo building. An apartment building is built as a for rental building and is owned by a company. A condo building is not like that. A condo building is owned. Each unit is owned by the resident of that unit, and the building together has an association. Now, if the association of owners wants to allow people to rent in their building, they can do that, but you can do that just as well as you rent your house that you live in. That's no different than any of that than that scenario. But this building will not be built as a rental building, and I think that needs to be expressly stated.
And it has to be clear, this is a 55 and older communities. Whoever's living in that unit has to meet the age requirements. It can't be, oh, I'm just going to have this unit and I'm going to now rent it out to my kids. It doesn't work that way. If you're not 55 and older, you're not living there, period.
Correct.
Okay, so I think we've addressed most of the questions here. I think we've addressed most of the questions here. Nathan, when is the Planning Commission meeting again?
The Planning Commission meeting is Tuesday, November 17th. The Board of Appeals meeting is Thursday, November 19th. And as we've stated, the two cases this evening, both the residential subdivisions, are going to be postponed to the December Planning Commission meeting. That meeting will be Tuesday, December 15th, but they will be re-advertised for that meeting, and we'll have it out there, so you'll know that the cases are up. But the cases, again, November Planning Commission is November 17th. November Board of Appeals is November 19th. December Planning Commission is December 15th.
Okay, great. So, I mean, there are a few more comments coming up in the YouTube chat. Do we want to read them, or do we want to stick with, we were wrapping those up? Because, I want you
if
guys
there are
to
questions,
understand
we could try and answer them.
additional chances. So There are questions. Why can't we? So some of them are questions. A lot of them are comments. Someone asked, why can't we stick with age 62 for the age requirement?
So if you look at communities, and I actually did a little bit of research on this, typically the 62 and older are the senior affordable products. They are not the active adult living communities. If you are 55 and older, looking for a market rate active adult community, I have not seen any in this area that are 62 and up. They are all 55 and up. So we want to be competitive with the market. We want, seniors that want to be in this community to stay here. We don't want those who are between 55 and 62 to have to move out of this community in order to find a quality active living community. So that is why we feel like we want to be competitive, and we want to make sure that we have a community where people can move in and be there for a while. And we believe that doing the 55 and older market will make this a much better project from a marketability standpoint.
Okay, someone wants to know, who is the builder?
Proterra, they are, and we'll have a little bit more information. I got Felipe and them on the phone with me. They are a Brazilian company, I believe, and we've done some work with them in some other places. And we can have some history and some information about them available. I apologize, I just don't have all that at my fingertips right now.
Okay, and we have some other comments about the HOA not abiding by the covenants for the homeowners to rent their properties. That might be a potential issue. What else is there? Someone wants to put the meeting times in the comments. These are both deferred to December, right? So the next Planning Commission meeting is on November 17th, and the next Zoning Board of Appeals meeting is on November 19th. So I think that's the end. Someone said, where are the other 55 in other neighborhoods?
I did a broad search through the internet for 55 and older communities, active adult communities that are market rate. They are, throughout the metro Atlanta area. I know there are some in Cobb, there's some in DeKalb. They are a number of different locations, not very many that I know of that are in South Fulton. I just posted in the chat the Zoom information. So if you want to cut and paste that, you're more than welcome to do so. Okay.
Okay, great. And I think that's the end of our comments, guys.
Thank you.
Can you guys hear Nathan?
I'm sorry, my phone just died on me.
No.
Okay, well, I think that's the end of our meeting. Thanks so much for coming.
Thanks so much, everybody.